Hi, I'm Allison Weslie,
And I'm Jake Ruffo.
and today we're here with.
Zach Turner.
So, Zach, I understand you went to Flower Bluff. Can you tell us a little bit about your time here in the media program when you were in school here?
Yeah, it's definitely not what it is now. We were just in the classroom back there, and we were still in a computer lab, but you got like two, studios essentially in the back. When I first started, we had, a classroom over in the UP. With no real equipment. We had maybe a camera and a laptop or two. So seeing it now is just like, whoa. I walked in and Coach Chapman was like, here's all of our equipment. And it just kind of took me, was taken aback a little bit. I was like, wow, this is a lot. And so seeing it now, it's really, I'm grateful for my time here, but I really enjoy the fact knowing that like you guys now are able to take advantage of all the equipment and all the opportunities that have been presented through this class.
And do you want to elaborate a little bit more on the stone ages of sports information, if you will?
Yeah, like I said, when it first started, I was actually going to the counselor to get a schedule change. I didn't even know the class was even a thing. I needed to change a class for some reason, and she was like, hey, we have this new, I think it was described to me as like a sports marketing class at the time. And I was like, sure, sports, I love it. And I got here, and maybe about the second day or so, Coach Chapman just kind of came up to me and said, hey, you want to talk about the game on Friday? I had no idea what he meant. And so I was just like, sure, I'll talk about football. I don't know what that means, but I'll run with it. And then we got to the stadium, and I kind of realized then, I was like, oh, this is what he's talking about. And, at that time, we had no commercials. Like I said, we had a camera and a laptop, and that was about it. We relied on all of our stats from Coach Henderson and Coach Boyd at the time, who sat right next to us. When we were still on the home side of the press box, we didn't do any away games that first year. It wasn't until the second year when we started doing that with Mr. Shannon Terry, I believe his name was, with the sports radio here in town. And even then, like, it just felt like we had, like, there was no commercial breaks, there was no nothing, so it was just constant talking about football. But I loved it. I loved interviewing all of our coaches, whether it was football or not. They had me go interview the swim coach one time, and I was like, I don't know anything about swimming, but sure. And so that was kind of what we were doing back then, and I loved it then, and I love it now in my role now. But like I said earlier, I really love it for the guys, for y'all guys now, because this is a great opportunity that you got to take advantage of when you can. I think more high schools are starting to have programs like this, but this is the first high school that I ever saw have a program like this. And so kind of to be the front runner, especially in the Coastal Bend area, it's huge. It's huge, and seeing where, like I said, seeing where it is now, it's a really good feeling.
So, I understand you do media now. Can you tell us a little bit about your position?
Yeah, I work at the university, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I work in the athletic department with their productions. Anything ESPN Plus related, I kind of handle. We've when I first got here, we were using some pretty, to use his words, some Stone Age equipment. But we've upgraded since, and it's so much fun. I mean, essentially the way I describe my job is I get to watch TV. I'm making TV because I'm the one who's switching all the cameras and doing the graphics and what have you. But at the end of the day, when I look up at the monitor, I'm just seeing a game as I would if I were on the couch. So I love it. I loved it when we were here, when I was actually calling the game, because I got free admission. So that was nice, and I got to talk about it. But now I get free admission to college events instead. So I can't beat that.
Would you have any words of wisdom to us or anybody in looking to go into any sports media, like technical director, play-by-play commentator, anything?
Yeah, you just don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to mess up. When I really first, I started here, obviously, and when I went to college at Angelo State, I tried to do some of the sports production there, but it didn't feel the same to me at the time. And so then I started working at a news station, and that's really where I learned the actual production side of things. Because when I was here, it was really all play-by-play or color commentary. And so at that time, it was all kind of brand new to me, camera work, graphics, audio. But I just was asking questions. I kept asking my director and my boss, what do I need to do better? How can I do this? How do I earn, how do I get a better position in this field? And, at first they were just kind of like, he's, just an employee. But then once I started to show what I could do, it turned into, hey, I want to offer you a full-time job. So it's those little things that really matter when you're in a career, is just asking questions, asking how can I improve? How can I do better? What more can I do? What other positions can I learn in media? Like I said, whether it's graphics or audio, because those are all different positions in a newscast or a sports broadcast production. Those are all their own individual positions. So learning how to do each individual one, you will be indispensable essentially. Like they can't get rid of you if you know everything. So that's kind of my advice, is just always ask questions and always be asking how can I improve upon what I do now.
What was your favorite memory when you were attending Flower Bluff High School?
Ooh. Do you mean within the class or just in general?
Just in general.
Just in general. Man, senior year for me was tough because I graduated 2020. That was COVID. I would have loved to have said it was, senior year, I get to graduate, whatnot. But because of COVID, it was kind of hard. And really, some of my best memories that year were probably in sports production class. Because again, we got to go to all the games. I got to hang out with like-minded people who wanted to know more about sports production, who wanted to call games, and so that was awesome. Being able to go into a class where at the time it was a lot smaller program than it is now. And so then, I knew everyone. We all got along really well. In fact, one of Xavier Pond, I know he's called some games with y'all. He was one of my very first classmates in the class. He currently has been working with me at the university along with Dallas Ritchie. He was another student that was sort of a founder of this program. And so, now I get to do the same thing with them all over again, except I'm their boss. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, just being able to go in and hang out with everyone and have a good time and just do sports media. Like I love that. And what y'all are doing now, y'all are doing stuff that's equivalent to a Division I program. And that's why I tried to explain to Coach Chapman, like, hey, this is exactly what we do on a day-to-day basis in the office. So really make sure that they're having fun with it. But yeah, I would say that's my favorite memory, is just being able to go in there, hang out with people, and learn new things. Because I learned stuff here, I learned stuff in college, I learned stuff at news stations, but it all started here.
And final question: what was your favorite game to call?
It was either the Wagner playoff game in San Antonio my senior year, which would have been 2019. We didn't end up winning that game, sadly, but it was just an exciting, exhilarating game that came down to the very last second. But if we're talking about a game in which we won, it was probably 2018 against Cal Allen here at home. That was our first year kind of doing this. I believe it was the second game of the season. So we were all still kind of figuring out, how this works. Because again, we were all just kids doing this for the very first time, not knowing what to do at all. But that game, it was, like I said, it was exhilarating down to the last second, but we ended up winning this game. I believe that was Isaac Miles' kind of breakout game when he was a sophomore. And yeah, it was awesome. And also, this probably wasn't a game, I wasn't here, I'd already graduated, but it was one of the playoff games against Vets. I believe I was actually here up in the press box with y'all at the time, and I wasn't calling the game or anything, but just being able to watch it and see, the students at that time be able to call a game like that, because it was a high intensity action, because it's a playoff game against vets at home. Like, you're going to get some crazy stuff going on. So being able to see, at that time, like the next generation of kids in the program after I had graduated, kind of be able to call similar games to what I had been able to call, that was really, that was a good moment for me.
Okay, well, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.